Warning, this program is entirely fictional and made by a sole Canadian man. All characters and events in the show, including the host, even those that are based on real people, are entirely fictional. The following program contains mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
America, the land of opportunity, fueled by immigration and innovation, with just a touch of authoritarian despotism. Here in these glorious United States, there exists a vast criminal underworld stretching from sea to shining sea, and if you look closely at our utopian American settlements, you may just find the stain of criminal activity in more places than you ever thought possible. Tonight, on Grand Theft Auto Geographies. Advertising, conspiracy, and occasional mayhem. Tonight we will examine a district of Liberty City known for its skyscrapers, its shops, and at least one massacre, as is unfortunately so common on this series. A place dominated by neon signage and historical landmarks that has seen its fair share of violence over the years, and has been home to one of Liberty's most infamous residents. A concrete jungle of a neighborhood with more Americanisms than you could shake a stick at, and a likely candidate for what one pictures when they think of Liberty City in general. Bedford Point. Bedford Point is about as urban comes as far as districts go. The only buildings in the area that aren't dozens of stories high are equally large cultural venues or government buildings, and the district's dense population reflects this. It is made up of 8 primary blocks, each with their own significance, and several smaller narrow blocks along the district's eastern edge and border with Torrington. Bedford Point distinguishes itself from its similar neighbor to the east by being less focused on big business and instead housing a more culturally refined portion of the population, being home to many of the city's museums and galleries on top of the iconic East Monroe Avenue. Amazingly, Bedford Point holds a distinguished title as one of the few districts in all of Liberty to not be controlled by any of the city's main gangs, although it should be noted that no part of the city was unscathed by this scourge. Many businesses in the area were in fact known to pay some form of protection to at least the Yakuza and likely many other gangs. The difference was, no gang members patrolled its busy streets. East Monroe Avenue runs directly through the center of the district with 3 major intersections and a connection to the main expressway surrounding much of Staunton Island. There are also 2 much narrower streets along its eastern edge which run parallel to each other and are connected by a series of smaller side streets. The district borders Belleville Park to the north, Torrington and parts of Newport to the east, and the river to the west and south. The history of Bedford Point, while not clean, is remarkably less violent than many other parts of the city. However, if you are at all familiar already with the history of America's worst city, you may know that this is hardly a ringing endorsement for its safety. Being tightly packed with people and more importantly police, the area has remained unpolluted by explicit gang warfare over its territory, though it has been home to several smaller, and some not-so-small incidents, which were directly adjacent to gang or mob conflicts. It has also been home on more than one occasion to massive criminal conspiracies, and as we will learn, was the home district of Liberty City's own, Donald Love. In 1998, a familiar face to any Liberty City historian would show up yet again when Tony Cipriani took on several jobs from Liberty Tree reporter Ned Berner, disguised as a Catholic priest. From the Liberty City Cathedral, Berner would trick Cipriani into stealing a report for him and a group of already stolen diamonds, as well as give Tony the order to cause mass chaos around the city using a fire truck and call for the murder of celebrities DBP, Black Lightman, and Faith W. Tony Cipriani was also responsible for 2 other known violent incidents in the district circa 1998. Once when working with corrupted LCPD detective Leon McCaffrey, in which the 2 men drove across much of Staunton Island shooting at members of the Forelli crime family, and again when Tony massacred scores of the Yakuza in order to secure an arms shipment that he delivered to Phil Cassidy in order to humiliate Yakuza Wakagashira, Kazuki Kasen. In 2000, the district would also see violence from presumed Leone associate Mike when he barged onto the set of a film starring Biff Rock and murdered several of his bodyguards, before selling the footage to the oddly amused filmmaker. The district was also apparently home to a single out-of-place mansion for a brief period in 2000 as well, owned by the Yakuza, second-in-command Asuka Kasen. The mansion was apparently torn down by 2001, and Asuka would move into a condo in Newport. Just 1 year later, following his failed election bid in '98, Donald Love would move his growing media conglomerate, Love Media, into a new building and take up residence on the building's highest floor. He would even have a private garden constructed atop the building, from which he gave several orders to the infamous LC Reaperman, Claude. From the Love Media headquarters, Donald would send Claude to break a man out of the custody of the Colombian cartel, murder the Yakuza leader Kenji Kasen, collect several mysterious packages, and attack another group of Colombians seizing his property at the airport, defend a Securicar from cartel attack, and act as a decoy to lure the attacking Colombians away from the real target. Finally, Claude himself was also the victim of an assassination attempt in the district that same year, when, while working for the Yardies leader King Courtney, he was lured into an ambush at a parking lot in the district's southwest corner. Being one of the busier districts for civilians of Liberty City, especially the snobby upper-middle-class residents, Bedford Point is home to many shops, cultural landmarks, skyscrapers, and government buildings. The central blocks contain several large skyscrapers, including the unofficially named Bedford Point Tower, which was the formerly tallest building in Liberty City before it was ousted by the Jefferson Street Credit Union building during its extension in 1988. The most notable part of Bedford Point, and among the most recognizable parts of Liberty City, or possibly any American city, is of course the famous East Monroe Avenue, and its juncture of two other major avenues. Along East Monroe are dozens of advertisements for every manner of American vice, proudly inviting people to listen to many of the city's radio stations and visit various businesses. On the edge of its western half, the district is home to the Liberty City Cathedral, which at one point also had an adjacent cemetery that was later demolished and covered up by the Bedford Point Opera House, built to replace the Fort Staunton Opera House, which was destroyed in the Mafia Wars of '98. It is also home to one of the city's subway terminals, connecting it to the rest of Liberty City via public transit, and subsequently doubling its ability to attract customers for its businesses and patrons for its venues. Other notable venues in the district include the Bedford Point Art Gallery, Theater, and Courthouse. In addition to all of these places, Bedford Point is also home to many businesses, including Bank of Liberty, Birthday Suit, Bolt Burgers, Bruns, Faj Eaters, Gourmet Deli, Hayaku Dojo, Joe's Pizza, King Nuts, Les Beans Cafe, Liberty Sex, Love Media Building, Magazine Shop, Mr. Ben's, Music Movies, Bill Cassidy's Fully Cocked Gun Shop, Pink Pussycat Boutique, Pons, Semi, Tarbrush Cafe, Trattoria Spaghetto, Twat Internet Cafe, Tube, Video, and White Line Airways. Okay guys, dropping character, let's look at the possible and obvious inspirations for Bedford Point in the real-world Manhattan. First, obviously, East Monroe Avenue is based on Times Square at the intersection of 44th Street, 7th Avenue, and Broadway. With its neon signs, similar layout, and similar building style, this particular inspiration is worn on its sleeve, but for other parts of the district, a bit more guesswork was required on my part. Due to the shrunken-down size of Staunton Island compared to Manhattan, Bedford Point ends up taking on the role of several other New York neighborhoods in similar geographically equivalent places, such as the Battery in the southwest, but also parts of Midtown Manhattan, including, oddly enough, parts of East Midtown, with the Liberty City Cathedral, I think, being based directly on the St. Patrick's Cathedral. I also think some of the more residential parts of the district could be based on anywhere from Chelsea, Greenwich Village, and maybe even Union Square. Then again, one has to remember just how much compression was being done to fit a Manhattan stand-in into a map smaller than most neighborhoods of the real-world New York. And so ends yet another episode of GTA Geographies, but don't worry folks, there's plenty more to come each week. If for some reason you're not already aware, be sure to check out my main series, Grand Theft Auto Biographies, every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern, and stay tuned for new episodes of GTA Geographies every Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. If you find yourself enjoying this content, why not leave a like, a comment, and while you're at it, subscribe to see new episodes as soon as they release. If you want to go the extra mile, consider supporting me on Patreon to keep my channel independent, and get some goodies in the process. I'll see you next time. I'm your host, Guinness Walker. Thank you for watching.